Hello, everybody. It's me, Boy Jones Fire. One of my best buddies on YouTube is going to currently join the conversation. His name is Paranormal MGTOW, and as you've all witnessed, when we start talking, big things happen. We talk about gigantic things in the Bible that other people don't even think about or consider. Me and Paranormal MGTOW have really gotten down deep and dirty into the Bible, and I hope that we will continue this again today. He is currently AFK. He will be joining the conversation in roughly 5 minutes. As I was stating in my previous video that I just made, I am still very angry at the video that I just watched about a man who killed his girlfriend and her lover inside of his own house with a hammer, and how none of the men in the MGTOW world had any sympathy or empathy for this man and sat there pussy pandering to the female, saying, oh, well, he should have known better, and you can't trust women and all this horse shit. It's like none of you care that the fact that this man is going to prison now for the rest of his life because of what she did to him. She betrayed him. Do you all not understand what the word betrayed means? Betrayal. When you betray somebody, all gloves are off. Whatever you do to that person that betrayed you is almost justified. And I know that sounds rough and harsh, but I mean it. I really mean it. If somebody betrays you that you trusted and you've been taken care of, then they are a low down piece of shit. And if you put this piece of shit out of its misery, so be it. Then you've done the world a favor. With that said, I'm still waiting for Paranormal MGTOW to show up. He was currently getting dressed and ready to go to church. For me, I think church is a waste of time nowadays because church is no longer church. But I'm pretty sure that the church that he goes to is a lot different than the average church. I'm pretty sure that he has the same group that he meets with every week. And it would have surprised me if he's actually ministering himself. He would be pretty good at it, and I think that he would actually have a great following inside of his church. So, Paranormal MGTOW, whenever you're ready, buddy, show up because I just sent you an invitation. And I think that's you showing up right now on the. I just see that I have one viewer currently online, so most likely that it is you. I will currently just go on AFK for a second until he shows up. So I'll be right back in a few minutes, just waiting for Paranormal MGTOW to show up to the conversation. I would like to add the following statement. People keep leaving commentary on my channel. Why don't you all just speak when I have live stream events? I make live streams every single day at random times of the day so that one of you can actually join the conversation. Yet I end up talking to myself for an entire hour in the video. Not that that's a bad thing because I can easily hold a conversation for an hour by myself. But the thing is, you guys talk to me saying that you want to join the conversations, but whenever the fuck I make one, you're all quiet as mice. You're not around. So what's up with that? You either want to join the conversation or you do not want to join the conversation. Do not come to me and waste my time saying that you want to join on Friday afternoon, 2 p.m., but come Friday afternoon, 2 p.m., your butt is nowhere to be found. Don't pull that crap on me, or I'll just block you and get rid of you on my channel. I have a zero tolerance for stuff like that. This is a serious channel with serious issues, and I like to be taken seriously. As you can hear, I'm still pretty angry from that last video that I watched. It really upset me for the simple fact that the men did not have his back. If I knew that guy personally, and he said to me, I came home and I just killed my girlfriend and her boyfriend because she was sleeping around when I was not at home. I'd take him in my house and try to hide him and stash him for a little while. Anyways, MGTOW, Paranormal MGTOW has just arrived to the conversation, everybody. So please welcome to my guest, Paranormal MGTOW. I'm not sure why I currently cannot hear his voice, and but I see that he
Hey
is.
there.
Now I can hear him. Welcome to the
Yeah, I just had
conversation.
to change. Hey, thank you. I just had to get my settings right to talk through the headset. Like, if I talk through the computer, you get echo because when you talk, it picks it up. So I just had to do the settings for the headset.
Okay, welcome to the conversation. I'm in a pretty
Oh,
bad,
great.
rotten mood.
Oh,
Um,
no.
I'm actually in a furious mode, and I could just like kill anybody right now that has got on my nerve. I watched this really bad video just now, and it really pissed me off.
Was it Universal Studios 13 one?
No, it was from Baby Blue Ranger.
Oh,
It was about a man who came home from his work, and he turned on a live stream to talk to the people out there, and he was explaining how he came home from work, and he found his girlfriend butt naked with candles everywhere, screwing this other man, and he came into his own house and seen his girlfriend having sex with another man, and
oh my gosh.
all the men on that channel and on that video were calling him a simpleton
Why?
because he didn't realize that women are pure evil. So because he trusted a woman and had faith in a woman and got used, the men were calling him a simpleton, which really infuriated me because this man just killed the girl and killed the guy in his house using a hammer. And nobody had any sympathy for him whatsoever. The fact that he was completely emotionally insane from what he witnessed, they were just calling it, look, he's the mangina. This is exactly what manginas do. They end up killing women. It's like complete pussy pandering from the MGTOW world. If anybody would sit there and say, no, the woman is to blame, it should be the MGTOWers. But they were sitting there encouraging the female's behavior, which just really infuriated me. And I'm really tired of the disgust that the MGTOW group right now is being completely raped. MGTOW
Yeah.
this, MGTOW that, MGTOW. There is only one version of MGTOW, and I will die defending that, and that is simply men going their own way, which means no more females in their lives whatsoever, such as what I am participating in and what Universal Studios 13 is participating in. Do you think that Universal Studios 13 will ever again have another girlfriend? No.
No, I followed his channel for like a year now, so no, I know he doesn't want anymore because he can't. You know, you get to the point where you just can't. It's not that you don't want to, you can't do it.
But that's MGTOW.
Yeah. Can I just say about Baby Blue Ranger, like years ago, the man would be let off and not even do jail time for that because it was called a crime of passion. It was like a insanity defense. So years ago, if a man caught his wife in adultery, he could kill them and not even go to jail. It's only now that all the laws have been reversed against the man, where the man is held responsible for everything and the woman is just let off. So, you know, the laws are just wrong now.
When you sent me the invitation for that live stream, I had
Yeah.
one going already,
Oh,
and
I didn't know that.
It was called "Hold On to Your Hats, Folks," and I explained in that video that the man should get off on crime of passion, but he will
Oh,
not
okay.
get off on crime of passion, even though he should. As a matter of
Yeah.
fact, he was defending his own home.
Yeah.
You're allowed to kill an intruder into your house. I mean, there's no difference. If the man is having sex with your wife, that is definitely intrusion on your home. He's in your house and he's having sex with your wife. I say anything goes. If you shoot him in the head, so be it.
Yeah, I agree totally. And there used to be laws around that women can't commit adultery. It was a crime and she'd go to jail if she did that. It's still the case in countries like the Philippines. Like Catholic countries have kept all those old laws, so he would have been right to do anything, really.
I agree. I think betrayal from a female is one of the highest disrespects there is in this world because you're literally
Yeah.
taking care of them, you're supporting them. He was working 4 different jobs. On the video, you see him sitting in a White Castle hat. He has a hat on from White Castle. Nobody wants to work at White Castle. Nobody wants to work at McDonald's. This guy is obviously trying to make ends meet. And now, because of what she did, he's going to spend the rest of his life in jail as a murderer. In my eyes, he is not a murderer. He is a fucking hero.
Exactly, exactly. And it's just so wrong. It's so wrong how men are treated now. I mean, everything that used to be right, it's like the Bible says, woe to those who call wrong right. And, they've just reversed everything now. It's just evil, and men are just putting up with it. So
It's
I
funny
just
you
don't think most people can be saved.
it's funny you mentioned Matthew just now because I spoke about Matthew this afternoon. I actually used the exact same comment. Woe to those that call bitter sweet and sweet bitter.
Yeah.
I made a whole video about that today, an hour long. I'm sitting here right now with that burn wound on my leg, so I got a lot of time to make live streams. But
Oh, wow.
I'm really at this point of, oh, I don't know how to say it properly. Let's just say that the world should be very grateful that I am a Christian.
I get it. Yeah, I get it. Like, I'm shocked myself there aren't more like mass shootings or whatever going on because the world's become so bad now.
Oh, I have a perfect question to ask you.
Yeah.
Common sense. Do you believe that common sense follows Christianity or not?
Yeah, I personally do. I think it is common sense to follow what God says. So yeah, I
No,
do.
I meant the other way around. Do you believe
Uh,
that common sense comes from Christianity, that it comes from discernment? Because in the 1950s, everybody had common sense. It was so common that people called it common sense. But since people have stepped away from Christ and stepped away from God, the most obvious things have become completely oblivious to them. I mean,
oh, I get you.
what you and I preach today on our channels is stuff they already knew 6,000 years ago. And yet it seems like there's some kind of dumb bomb has gone off in the United States and in Europe where everybody has become completely retarded to the most oblivious, obvious things. Things that every Christian knows very well. And we have discernment. It is a gift from God. So therefore, I declare that since the decline and the destruction of Christianity, we have seen a plummet in common sense. So I really do believe that common sense is directly linked to Christianity.
Yes, yeah, I agree with you because look at the Ten Commandments. I mean, you can't have people going around like committing adultery, like you can't have people stealing. You'll have no society. So yeah, I mean, even now, people are trying to sandblast all God off buildings in America. Like there was a court case where one state had to get rid of like a plaque of the Ten Commandments from its parliament building. So people have lost their common sense, they've lost their faith in God, and they're just living a selfish, pretty horrible life, really.
I don't think they've ever lost their faith in God. I think they know full well that God is existing. They just don't care.
Okay,
And I,
well, they're not following, they're becoming agnostic and just not following what God wants.
the worst thing a person could ever say to me is that they don't care. If you want to
Yeah.
infuriate me, if you want to make me livid, say you don't care to me. That really pisses me off. Those are the worst words anybody could say. There's so many things in this world today that people need to care about. There are so many things today that people should care about, willing to lay their lives down for, such as introducing pedophilia today in schools. I mean, America today has declared that all schools in California are going to get a gay lesson in school, that the police are actually going to show up at schools and they're going to lock down schools to educate children on gay behavior. Come on,
Yeah,
folks.
it's terrible. I mean, how young are they going to do it? I mean, we shouldn't be doing that in schools. The schools are only there to teach people to read and write, and everything else is just not right. So we're
You,
keeping kids at school until they're 17 now. It's way too late. They should be out of school by 13 at least.
you made a really great point by saying how young, how young.
Yeah.
Folks out there, your television shows such as Family Guy and all this crap that promotes violence, promotes things that you would never yourself think about. But they think about it and spam it to you, and now it gets stuck in your head. They are literally creating psychopaths in this world. They are literally trying and physically trying to create psychopaths because all they want is psychopaths. They want to kill all the good people and leave all the psychopaths behind so that the crazy becomes the norm and the norm becomes crazy.
Yeah, definitely. And television has a big, big effect on people. Like, if it didn't, why would people pay $1 million for ads in the Super Bowl or advertising? So, if television can change how you buy what you want to buy, then of course it changes other things as well.
I don't understand why anybody would sit there watching a pre-programmed box. Why would you
No,
waste your life sitting behind a box watching this pre-programmed crap that is designed to screw your head over? I don't understand that.
exactly.
And
Exactly. I've got rid of. So I'll keep going.
how could people not understand that the television was used to be a gigantic propaganda tool? How can people not see
Exactly.
that?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I got rid of cable TV years ago, and I hardly watch any normal TV now because I'm on the internet most of the time, looking at YouTube and just researching stuff. I mean, it is just feeding you what they want you to think. Like the news just concentrates on the news they want you to know. It's not for real story.
Exactly. So, what did you think about President Putin banning yoga this week in Russia?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of him. I know that Russia's not a perfect country and there's heaps of problems, but if people like Edward Snowden are running from America getting asylum in Russia, it tells you that he's doing a lot of things right. Like, at least Russia respects Christianity and they don't kowtow to all these immigrants, all these Muslims coming in. They're not changing anything for them, which is how we should be. So, yeah, I totally agree with him. I think that Putin is probably going to be the savior of the world. Like he stopped wars in Syria already. He stopped. I really think he's playing a big role now.
Well, I think that President Putin banning yoga really shows his dedication to Christianity because you don't
Yeah.
just come up with banning yoga. I mean, only a true Christian understands that yoga is purely satanic. Only a
Mm,
real Christian understands that, and that he would ban that. I mean, he's trying to ban homosexuality as well, and that's already a big one. But banning yoga is bigger. I believe it's
yeah.
truly bigger because it's a part of this new age movement where people believe that every. I mean, as Jesus Christ says himself, there is nothing new under the sun. Everything that we think today is new age was done 5,000 years ago, and it was called witchcraft.
Yeah, and it failed back then. It ruined society way back then and turned people into like monsters back then. So what's it going to do now? It's not going to do anything different.
This modern world today actually believes in the caveman. They actually believe that caveman and
Yeah.
cavewoman existed, and that everybody previous before us, before 2015, were all cavemen and stupid people, as if they had no brains and no education of their own at the time. Even though that ancient Egyptians already discovered the battery, we today act like they were all cavemen, which is complete insanity. You know,
Totally. Like I already showed you in our last hangout that test from 1913, and it was for eighth graders, and it was so in depth that I couldn't answer the question. So people were much smarter back then.
well, yeah, I also watched the study. I live in Europe right now. I watched the study between Belgian students and American students, and the Belgian students were laughing, saying that this is something they already get in fourth grade, and these were
Mm,
college kids now. And it's true, man. When you look at America right now, all these job opportunities are opening up for females, which aren't even real jobs. I mean, what
no.
the fuck can you do with human studies? What job can you possibly get with female gender issues? Come on. Well, what kind of job would there possibly be for you? And then
Yeah, I was just
even if you did find a job like that, wouldn't all the other females be your competition?
yeah, that's a good point. I was just thinking about the wage gap, how it's just the choices that females make, like they go and study feminism and human studies and all that, and then at the end of it, they have to get some government job working for like social security or some government thing because there is nothing else they can do. So
Well,
yeah, that's
exactly.
part of the wage gap.
But no company wants to hire a female either because they have to pay for her pregnancy. If she's gone for 8 months because she's pregnant, they're gonna have to pay for it.
That's
So
right.
companies want to
Exactly.
make money. They don't want to lose money,
Yeah,
and
and the
not every.
females won't tell them. She won't tell them they're pregnant. They'll get the job, and then she'll become pregnant 5 minutes later.
Yep, exactly. And these females are always seeking jobs too with high medical aid. Have you noticed that one? They're always looking
Yeah,
for
that's
one with the high insurance payments. But they just want to make sure they don't have to pay anything in life, have no responsibility, and bully men around. Just like Matthew says. Matthew says,
yeah,
children oppressed. Oh, my people, children oppress you and women rule over you.
That's right.
Your leaders have led you astray. They have led you down a broken path.
That's right. But you just can't get men to listen. Like most men who haven't taken the red pill or haven't woken up to this, they absolutely won't listen. They think everything's normal. Even though I've proven to them, like 200 years ago, when a man and a woman married, the man wasn't just there for the woman, like they had their family living with them. They would have had their parents living there, surviving with them, and the man had lots of responsibilities to other people than just the wife. And yet, men today think that this marriage is how it's always been. Like it's not.
How can men also get rid of God, then make his woman God? They love their woman so much they don't think the woman could do anything wrong. She becomes a goddess and is put placed on a pedestal. Where God belongs, they put females nowadays. I mean,
Exactly.
that's where you're looking for problems, and people don't want to understand that. But you're looking for problems when you do that. When you disrespect God like that, when you disrespect your family life like that. I mean, there is a saying out there: only the man that loves God could actually be in control of a woman, because then you won't
Yeah.
fear losing the woman anymore, because you'll have
Yeah.
God in your life, and God will always correct you. I mean, even the Bible says, if a woman is wrong and the man is a godly man, that God will pull him out of the relationship. It
Right.
actually says that in the Bible.
Right.
And that's why I feel like too, that's why I got rid of Kim, because God pulled me away from her. Very simple. A
Yeah.
godly man will escape her. The sinner
Yeah.
will
So
be
they.
the sinner will be ensnared by her, but the godly man will escapeth her. That's what the Bible says.
Exactly. And it is idolatry to put anything before God, to put anything above God. It's idolatry. And God is not going to bless your relationship. Like you'll have problem after problem. And if you stubbornly stay there your whole life, it's going to be a miserable life. So,
But all
you
of
know,
that aside, why would you put a female before God? I mean,
no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
no, I know you wouldn't. I wouldn't either. But why would any guy do that? It doesn't make any sense. It's like, have they completely forgotten that God is real? I just don't understand. It's like, how do you seek to have a marriage and get married in a church in the eyes of the Lord when He doesn't agree upon your relationship?
That's right. That's right. And the thing is, people don't even read the Bible anymore. Even people at church, they just listen to what the pastor says, which is usually wrong and usually not biblical, and then they just go away and spend their lives working. So nobody's even taking time to pray or to read the Bible anymore.
Very true, very accurate. And most people, they like to boast that they've read the Bible, but when it comes down to it, they don't know shit. Like this girl that came to my channel last week, she said, "There is no place in the Bible that says that women have to submit to their husbands." I
No,
linked
it's
her
very
nine.
plenty.
I linked her 9 posts in like 10 seconds, showing all the places we have to submit. People don't know the Bible today. They act like they do, but they really have no clue. It's like even the MGTOW Brotherhood did not even understand that God is more MGTOW than He is for marriage. I mean,
Yeah, I believe it.
look at the disciples. Look at Jesus. Look at the whole system. Jesus was a superstar. He came to this planet. He was healing everyone. Women were throwing themselves at him. I mean, you could best believe that women were just throwing themselves at him. And he's like, nope, 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 nope. Could you get more MGTOW than that?
No, I don't think he could actually. And his
Here's a
example is
here's a man
perfect
that
for
comes
the
walking
times.
into a building, sits down on a chair, and a woman starts washing his feet with her hair. He doesn't look at
Exactly.
her as if she's the Mona Lisa. He actually looks at her as if that is her job to do. And that to me is very beautiful. That says to me, look, this is a real man. This is a man who sits down, gets his feet washed, and doesn't even think twice about getting his feet washed, as if this is her job to do. And she gladly did it as well.
Exactly. And the woman was sinful too. It wasn't some perfect woman, so Jesus just accepted her how she was.
Exactly. It was like a Kim situation. My ex girlfriend's name is Kim. It was like a Kim walking up to him and washing his feet with her hair and her tears, as far as I remember.
Yeah, it does say that. Yeah, yeah. She did wash them with her tears and dried them with her hair.
Oh, I
Wow.
found I found out today in the Bible that it is very true about uh, Oh my god, now my mind went completely blank. What the fuck? Not Adam and Eve. The other one, the other wife. The one I always talk about. Now I can't even think about her name. Lilith.
Was it Job? Oh,
Lilith.
Lilith. Okay.
You know, in the Bible it says in Genesis, "Let us go down and create them in our image." But he also talks about how he created female. He created man
Right.
and woman together. But woman betrayed man. And then Eve was created for Adam, out of his own heart, from his own body, from underneath his heart, from his rib. But there is clear indication in Genesis 3 that Lilith was really real, which I think adds to the story of Enoch even more, because Enoch is once again the one that talked about Lilith. Enoch is the one that talks about the Nephilim. Enoch is pretty freaking awesome. And
Yeah, it is.
I have to wonder, if the book of Enoch is out there, what other books are hidden still? What other books of the Bible the makers of the Bible refuse to let in? Because the book of Enoch plays such a gigantic role in explaining everything, and yet he was completely left out.
Well, it was left out for a reason. Like, I was thinking myself that it was the Catholic Church who put the Bible together in one of their councils, and they put the Bible how they wanted it. Like, they were not so much chopping and changing it, but they were making people believe what they wanted to, and they weren't being honest about the whole story. So,
But if you put
yeah, I mean,
sorry, if you put the
so I
book of
mean,
you first, sorry.
I was going to say that the Bible is the Word of God, but things were left out and changed around on purpose by that council who put the Bible together.
Yeah, I've ordered a Septuagint. I can't wait to get it before the
Okay.
Catholics got a hold of the Bible. Basically, the Bible that Jesus would have read, and I'm
Yeah.
really looking forward to getting it. You know, in the Bible, in the Septuagint, the serpent inside of the garden is actually called the Bright One. He's not even
Oh,
called a serpent. He's called the Bright
that's
One.
interesting. That's Lucifer. That's Lucifer, a name for
Exactly.
Lucifer as well.
But if in Genesis already, in the Septuagint, just the serpent being called the Bright One is already such a gigantic deal. I wonder what else the Septuagint has to tell me.
Hmm. No, I think there's a lot of truth out there that's been hidden on purpose from Christians, and at least in these last days, we've got the internet, we've got technology now, which can, if people want to look, they can find older versions and full books of Enoch and stuff. So,
Have you also
if people want to.
have you also noticed how the devil keeps revealing books as well? Sneaky bastard.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of false things here. There's a lot of like false paths out there from the devil, definitely.
I'm very sure that the devil wrote the book of Mary Magdalene. I'm very sure about that. And then we find the scripts, we find the Dead Sea Scrolls, and there it says Jesus often kissed her on her, and then right where it's supposed to say where he kissed her, there's a piece of cloth missing from the scroll. And then people are now
Exactly.
speculating: did he kiss her on her lips? Did he kiss her on the cheek? Were they in a relationship together? Did they have a kid together? You see all the
No, no.
speculation that came from that fucking Dead Sea Scroll?
Yeah,
Clearly, that
yeah.
was an attack from the devil. Clearly.
It was. It was. It was. The devil can manipulate things. Like he can come in and change things around. He's not like a whole spirit. They can get bodies. These demons. It says that they can appear as angels of light, so he can change things around easily.
Did you hear that this week the Star of Bethlehem showed up? The star,
I did actually.
the very star that the shepherds followed to find Jesus, it appeared again after 2,000 years. That is humongous. That's like saying the rebirth of Christ is soon to come. Again,
It's big.
all in the blood moon cycle. I mean,
Yeah.
I
No,
mean,
I think the star is definitely a sign.
well, I've seen at least 7 gigantic signs since since the first blood moon, and I mean, come on, we just had the gay homosexual approval in the United States. I mean, people are just acting like that's nothing. That is so biblically huge, and people are just completely missing it, completely unaware of what they're doing. They remind me
Yeah.
so much of sodomites. It makes me sick.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like people anymore. Nobody. I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm completely done with humanity. I mean, I talk to the men on my channel, and that's it. I don't want to talk to anybody in real life. I don't want to see anybody. I'm completely done with humans. They're just, well, to be honest, they're beneath me. And
Yeah,
people
and
have,
actually, you can't help them anyway. I mean, no matter what you do, you just can't help. You can't force someone to be saved or someone to go MGTOW. They just have to do it themselves.
well, I only went MGTOW because it's the smartest way to go, and it was also one of the most Christian way to go. Um,
Yeah,
I would have
I
rather
believe
seen
that.
I would have rather seen feminism destroyed than the men opting out, and men opted out and became MGTOW. But I would have rather seen feminism destroyed by the men, but that didn't happen. But I'll settle for MGTOW. But I mean,
Yeah,
really, the
yeah,
real genuine MGTOW, not this happy, trendy ass trying to destroy MGTOW nonsense that's out there today. Many men are actually trying to ruin MGTOW, and they're also getting females' opinion on MGTOW. I don't care for a female's opinion on anything, especially not a movement that I am one of the most participating people in. I mean,
that's right.
I
That's
am a
right.
hardcore MGTOW. I am true and true MGTOW all the way. I will never sleep with another woman again. I will never have contact with another woman again. I could not even date another woman again. If she gave me an attitude, I would pop her in the face so fucking fast, man. I'm completely at my limit of female drama, and they do it on purpose. And then
They do.
I'll be sitting there dealing with this woman, knowing she's doing it on purpose. It could never end well. I would always know that eventually I would be popping her in the face. And the worst part is that I did smack my ex girlfriend after she pushed me so far. I smacked her. But you know what the problem is when you murder somebody, right? When you kill somebody, you get sick, you throw up, you feel guilty, but secretly in the back of your head, you always have that high for doing it again. Just like when you get a tattoo, you get your first tattoo, it hurts a bit. Once it's done, you kind of become addicted to that feeling of the needle and you want to have more tattoos. It's the same thing once you smack the woman. Once you've done it once, you're going to continue to do it. So it's best off that females don't even get involved in my life because I will end up smacking them. I guarantee it. I
Yeah,
have no.
lots of people just can't understand that. But there's nowhere in the Bible it doesn't say you're not allowed to hit a woman. Like it's not in the Bible at all. So I think that in many cases there's just no other choice, and men have been held responsible for years. Like men would go to jail if women ran up debts, or if women committed crimes, the man would go to jail. So men
Yeah,
had to be able to have
that
some
was
authority over women.
indeed that was in the 50s. Men were
Yeah,
completely held responsible for whatever a female did, and you could always see that very well in the old television show of I Love Lucy. She
yeah,
continuously
yeah.
got herself into trouble, and Ricky had to continuously bail her out. And
That's right.
he would put her over his leg and spank her ass on camera in front of the entire United States citizenship. They're all watching the television. They seen Ricky spanking Lucy, and there was no
Yeah,
problem
exactly.
with it.
And that was normal in those days. Nobody batted an eyelid. It was normal. But now things have become good's become evil and evil's become good. People would get up in arms if anything like that was on TV now. So, we've gone so far down the road. I just don't think most people can listen anymore.
But you know what's the number one cause of all this, right? Emotion.
Yeah,
Courts are not running on emotion. They run on logic, evidence, and proof. But the public opinion runs on emotion. So nowadays they're using public opinion for everything. Just like when they wanted to bring out the man spreading make it against the law for man spreading, they took it to the courts of public opinion. When they wanted to crucify Bill Cosby for rape, they did not take it to the genuine public court. No, they took it to the courts of public opinion. And they continuously do this to seek sympathy and empathy, and the devil always acts like he is a victim. Always.
yeah, yeah,
Even with his war in God, when he left heaven, he acted like he was a victim. I don't want to serve mankind. They should serve me. Ugh. The devil has always acted like a victim. Everybody who pretends to be a victim in this world today is clearly demonically possessed. And it's about time that humanity stops excusing everything with one or another label and start calling them people out for being demonically possessed. We've been talking about demonic possession for 6,000 years. We have not been calling it borderline histrionic personality disorder. No, we don't call it narcissism. We call it demonic possession. And that's the way it should be. But the courts don't want to recognize demonic possession anymore because that would mean that there's an entity out there who is genuinely in control.
Yeah, that's true. And there's not only demonic possession, the demons can like influence the person, or like slowly wedge their way in, and before the full possession happens. So there's a lot more to it than people think. But
Oh yeah,
these courts, like the family court never existed 200 years ago because people wouldn't tolerate it. They had to have a court that followed the Bible, which is you need to have two witnesses of a person, and then you have to take them to court, and the two witnesses have to testify. And if there's not two witnesses, i.e., if it's your wife, only one witness, then it's not good enough to go to court. So that's why they've made all these secret family courts and all these other secret courts they're making now. It's because they're not following the Bible rules about law.
for the viewers out there that don't understand the two witnesses, according to ancient Jewish tradition, two witnesses must testify to make one person look guilty. There must always be two witnesses. Just like the Bible speaks about the two witnesses that are still to come, as well as when Jesus stood in front of the tribunal and he stood in front of all the Pharisees, he stood there saying, Me and my witness are testifying on my behalf. And he was talking about God at the time. He continuously used God as his witness. He knew the courts and he played the courts like a fiddle. And he also made sure that he always did have a second witness, and he called it God. And Jesus is the Son of God, and he kept saying, My Father is with me, and he is testifying on my behalf. So there's always been a clear path of two people being witness to one crime. As a matter of fact, a person could be let off in ancient Judaic tradition if there was only one witness.
Yeah, and that's how it should be, because the word of one other person, it should never trump what you have to say, because you're equal. Like the very
Exactly.
first page of the Bible says everyone's equal, everyone's made in the image of God. So you can't have just one person's word getting precedence over another person's.
Exactly. But there was also in one of the Ten Commandments that they followed, and they followed very well, was thou should not press false, thou should not give false witness. And
That's
they
right.
followed back then the Ten Commandments very well. They would never break that law. And today, I actually want to talk to you right now about mammon. Do you know
Uh-huh.
what mammon is?
I'm just going to Google it. So off the top of my head, I just can't remember it at the moment. So maybe you talk while I Google it.
Okay, and in the book of Matthew, it speaks about how you could not serve two masters. And it clearly
Okay.
says two masters, folks, not three or fucking four, not like the Hindus believe in all these other gods. Two masters. Jesus Christ himself says you cannot serve two masters. Then he goes on and mentions who the two masters are. The first master he calls God, but the second master he does not call Lucifer. He does not call him Allah. He calls it Mammon. And Mammon stands for money, power, prestige, status, wealth, greed. And if you believe in those things, then you are not with Christ. Very simple. So I think it's very fascinating how Jesus actually called the second God money, power, status, wealth. And at the same time, he calls the love of money the root of all evil. So right there
Yeah.
again, he's backing up his own word once again.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, because the devil can be many different things. They can come in as like a desire for money, a desire to control. Like, um, there's just so many ways that can lead you into a bad life. But money is a real big one, which is why women will leave their marriages and they get 80-90% of a man's money now, and that's a normal thing. So, it's a greed, isn't it?
Exactly. But as a Christian, if I was to say to you right now, hey, I'm a celebrity maker, I can make you into a star. All you have to do is sign this contract, and I will give you millions and millions of dollars. What would your first rational thought be?
Well, of course, you'd be greedy, and you'd think that would be a great thing to do, but then you'd have to pray about it first, and I'm sure God would tell you not to do it. So, yeah, you can't go with your first ideas.
But doesn't the Bible also say that a rich man will have a hard time getting into heaven? It's as if it's as hard for a rich man to get into heaven as a camel getting through the eye of a needle.
Yes, that's right, actually. And for eye of a, oh, sorry,
What's up?
Sorry, I've got some static there. The Eye of a Needle, it's not a real needle. It was a little gate getting into the walled city, so it was possible for the camel to get through if they took out all their load and stuff and made the camel just slide through the door. But yeah, the Eye of a Needle, it's a very hard thing to do, but not impossible.
Exactly, but it is very hard to do. But at the same time, does the Bible also not say never be envious of what other people have because you do not know what they did to achieve it?
Exactly, exactly.
That also
Because
comes.
yeah, not everybody leads their life good, and people do sell their soul to become famous and rich. Even people like Bob Dylan have gone on television and admitted to it. So,
Oh, the
yeah.
chief commander. Hey, do you live in America by any chance?
No, I'm in New Zealand now. It's Sunday morning here. I'm in a weird time zone.
Okay, I want to tell everybody something about the American dollar they have not noticed.
Okay.
Anybody who has an American dollar, take it out. And you will look on the back and you will see the most standard things. You'll see the pyramid, you'll see the Ovis Security, whatever, Nova, the New World Order thing you'll see there. And you'll see the eagle holding the arrows. But take the picture of the eagle and flip it upside down, and what do you see? Nobody actually ever gets that. They all see the pyramid, they all see the eagle, they all see the New World Order logo, but they don't see the tail of the eagle. But if you were to flip that eagle upside down, you would see an Indian chief, the chief commander. And nobody seems to notice that nowadays. They all notice everything else, but they don't notice the chief commander. So if you go to Google, for example, and you were to grab just the average dollar bill, can you do so? I'll show you it. Just go to Google and type in dollar bill.
Okay, I'll do it now.
You might think this is pretty cool if you see it. Yeah, I know you have to go to church, so you have to get ready as well.
No, it's okay. I can talk for a bit longer. Okay, $1 bill. Yeah, here we go. I've got both sides of it, so I'll just open up the image.
Okay,
Okay,
open
so
it.
there's an
Open it.
eagle just to the right.
Yes, the eagle. But flip the
Oh,
eagle upside down, and then
okay.
you'll notice that the tail feathers are actually the helmet of the crown of an Indian. It's actually an
Wow.
Indian holding the leaves and the arrows in his hand. You see it if you flip the dollar bill upside down. That you see the Indian, the war chief.
Yeah, I think so. It does look like an Indian feathered cap with all those lines and stuff. Yeah, it does actually.
Nobody ever notices that.
No.
But who is the commander in chief?
Well, it's clearly not Obama. He's just a puppet, so it's clearly something else.
Okay, who did Bob Dylan call the commander in chief?
Yeah, yeah. It was like Lucifer.
Exactly. So they're saying right there on the dollar bill, hey, we worship Lucifer. And in God we trust. What God are they talking about? Is it Jehovah or is it Satan? In God we trust. That's nice and random, don't you think? Shouldn't it say something like in Jehovah we trust?
Yes, good point. I mean, you don't know what God people are talking about because people
Exactly.
like George Herbert Walker Bush, he often said, God bless America, but you don't know what God he meant. So, people just assume it's your God. I mean, you just assume as a man that a woman loves you the same way as you love her, and you don't understand she doesn't. So, it's no good assuming what people are talking about.
I'm currently sharing the screen with everybody so they can see what I'm talking about. Look, this is an Indian chief. If you all notice, you see the feathers on this hat right here, the Indian chief on my picture. And then when we go down to the dollar bill right here, if you were to flip this dollar bill upside down, you would notice that here's the head of the Indian chief. Here's his feathers right here. He's holding arrows in his hand, and I think it's an olive branch. I'm not really sure what branch this is. But if you were to flip this emblem over, you would clearly see that this icon is the cloak of the Indian chief. Here's his feathers. Here's the hat. Here's his arm. Here's his other arm. He's holding arrows and he's holding a branch in his hand. Nobody ever notices that. All they ever notice is the eagle, and they think that this is his tail of the eagle when it's actually a war chief. And the war chief, the god of war, is Lucifer himself. So what you're really looking at right here is this logo is saying to you right here, New World Order of Lucifer. But when we look at the book of Daniel, Daniel clearly talks about the New World Order, folks. If we want to talk about biblical events that are happening during the blood moon, the simple fact that the New World Order is rising is already biblical by itself. The fact that we even call it the New World Order is biblical by itself because God made it very clear in the book of Daniel what was going to happen with the seven kingdoms, the seven empires, the Ottoman Empire, the Persian Empire, the Roman, the Grecian, so on and so on. We are now in the current last empire. Now, everybody wonders this Antichrist system is going to take a blow to its head. It's going to receive a deadly head wound, but it will recover. Who has all heard that story before of the Antichrist system taking a deadly head wound and recovering?
Yes, it's clearly there in the book of Revelation.
So you've heard about this.
Yeah.
That the Antichrist system will take a blow to the head, will recover, and then it will be strong and dominant again, and that the strongest world powers will take on the Antichrist. Well, the Antichrist system was the Ottoman Empire. It was destroyed in World War One. That's the deadly head wound it took. And now today we are seeing ISIS rising once again. We are seeing Libya, Syria, Iraq, all going down right now. And all these countries used to belong to the great Babylonian Empire, or also the Ottoman Empire. So what we are witnessing today is the American government going off to the Middle East, destabilizing it so that radical Islam could take it over. So what they are trying to do is recreate Babylon.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Nothing is new under the sun, folks. Everything is repeating itself. We once had a one world order. We once had one world language. We once had one world religion and a one world currency. And when we had this situation in the world, we decided that we're going to go find the gateway to heaven, build a tower, climb the tower, and reach it. Do you know what God said, folks, when God destroyed the Tower of Babel? That if he did not destroy the tower, mankind would have reached heaven. And there's no shocker out there because even yin yang, the symbol of yin yang, stands for the realm of humanity and the realm of the spirit world. And when you look at the yin yang symbol, you will clearly see that the black half circle has a white dot in it, and the black half circle has a white dot in it. This clearly stands for mankind stepping between the veil that God put down there, making contact with the spirit realm. And when we look at the Chinese culture who believe in the dragon and who believe in a meditation and reaching a higher state of consciousness, all they really are doing is connecting to the demon world. And what does yin yang stand for? It stands for the spirit realm mixed together with the human realm, and in between there is a little tiny border where the black meets the white, and that is what God calls the veil between the two realms. He also promises that in the end of days, when Revelations hit its peak, that he's going to lift the veil. This veil is the only thing that is holding back pure evil from taking over the world right now. And now you have a company called CERN. Okay, by the way, folks, to prove to you that the devil truly controls human beings, there is no human being on this planet that would have come up with the idea for CERN on their own. CERN is a creation of all nations combined, the top scientists of them all combined. Well, it only takes one demon to talk to them all into influencing them to build a giant structure. They're trying right now to create antimatter and to open a portal to the different realms. We, the Christians, know what's going to happen while the rest of the world is completely vague. So your top scientists today, who you all hold trust in and hope in, and think that your top scientists are the smartest people in the world, are actually very fucking stupid. Our Christians are smarter than all of your scientists combined, and none of us Christians are trying to open up the portal between the two realms. We are not stupid. We do not want to tempt our Lord. We do not want to push God into revealing everything to us because we understand there's going to be severe repercussions for doing so. But your scientists today don't mind if they blow up the planet or destroy the entire universe. just to discover if antimatter truly exists or if it's just a fable.
That's interesting. Can I just read to you something from the Book of Revelation? I was trying to say it before. It says, "When the Lamb broke the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth living creature saying, 'Come.' I looked and beheld an ashen horse, and he who sat on it had the name Death, and Hades was following with him." And that's Revelation chapter 6, verse 8. So if CERN is going to breach this veil, CERN could be bringing through hell, like hell's going to follow after the fourth seal is broken. So it's clearly in there that hell is going to follow. We are going to somehow mix this veil and get to the other side of it. So soon could be it. I don't know. It could be it, though.
I bought a book called The Path of the Ancients. And it's from Thomas Horn, who's pretty well in the biblical world. He has some things that are mistaken, but he's pretty well accurate on the rest. And he clearly shows that CERN is going to be used as a weapon against humanity. But when you also read the book of Revelations, it clearly says that once this angel comes down, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm listening. Yeah.
I heard a beep on the conversation.
We've got some static or something. No, keep going.
Anyways, the book of Revelation says that one day the portal will be opened and will be released scorpion type creatures that will attack all non-believers, and that people in that time will be crying out for death, and death shall pass them up. They will not be relieved of their pain. So these are apparently holy creatures that are going to come out because they don't attack the good people, and death is scared of them. Well, we know that death is Lucifer, so why would Lucifer be afraid of it unless it is a holy creature?
That's true. That's true. And it's interesting because it looks as though people can't die. Like from what we've read, it looks as though somehow there's going to be some technology which stops people from dying.
Singularity.
So there's no end to people suffering. Yeah. There's no end to people suffering. And it also says that the elect are going to have some kind of seal on their forehead, like the damned will have the mark of the beast on them, and the elect will have some kind of sign on them as well. I don't know if other people could see it, but these creatures will see it and God will see it. So
you already have it today already. You have it.
I think we could. I think we could. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's not. Well, let me just confirm this to you. You have it already. When you have the Holy Spirit inside of you, you are marked by God. When you say to God, please write my name in the book of life, you're again marked by God. Your life is filled with markings by God that says that he owns you. And let's not forget what happened to Job, where Job lost his entire family, got covered in boils. But what did God say to Lucifer? You could taunt him, tease him, torment him, but you're not allowed to do what?
To kill him.
Exactly. So that kind of adds up to these creatures coming out that will torment but not kill.
Yes, yeah, but the creatures won't have the power to kill the elect because God is going to preserve them till he comes back. But it's odd that they can't kill the damned either, but they'll definitely torment the damned. But it's just things that we can't really understand just yet because it hasn't happened. So yeah, we can only speculate how we think it's going to play out.
But God never brought death into the world. The devil brought death into the world, so the devil controls death.
Yes, that's right. Adam and Eve never could die before they fell. When they were living in the Garden of Eden, they would have lived there forever.
Yep, folks. So the reason why you have to die in this world, you could blame it on Adam and Eve. That's what I told everybody. Everything in this fucking world falls back to Adam and Eve. Everything.
Yeah, and I know that Adam was responsible for falling too, but it was the woman who the devil came to and manipulated and got her to fall first. Like the devil never came to the man because the man is somehow different to the woman and is going to be more faithful. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
You want me to explain why the devil fucking never went after the man, but he went after the woman?
Okay.
God walked with Adam. God created the planet. Adam was alive. Lilith already bailed out. It was just Adam left. Adam named all the animals. Adam called a lion, an elephant, an elephant. So Adam was literally walking with God, while Eve, on the other hand, was created by God, but God's task was already pretty much done on Earth, so he didn't really come by a lot. But at the time, Adam was walking with God, and he had every bit of intelligence that God had. Let's not forget that we are just copies of Adam today. So what
Yeah,
he had compared to what we have on knowledge today was a lot greater. I'm pretty sure that he used the 100% of his brain and not just the standard 10%. I also do believe that we used to be able to talk to animals, and then Adam and Eve ruined it. But God also says that Adam did not sin that day. Adam protected love. God is love, so God had respect for Adam for that. He didn't want to see his love die, just like God didn't ever want to see his children die. So God understood why Adam ate the apple. Adam did not eat the apple out of contempt towards God. He ate it so whatever punishment would happen to Eve would befall him as well. Self-sacrifice, which is what we
yeah, it
still see
was.
today in men all over the world. During every war, man goes out and self-sacrifices, and the woman is self-indulges.
Yeah, it's a very big flaw, and eventually feminism might stamp that out of men. Men might just not care about sacrificing anymore. Why should they? If their marriages aren't going to last any more than a few years, if they're going to have their lives ruined just when a woman picks up a phone, why should men sacrifice? So I've got a feeling that feminism is going to backfire on women one day severely, and men won't do anything to protect them anymore. And then women might think they can call the police, but if the economy is really bad, like in Detroit, the police won't come for minor problems anymore. So
Exactly.
I think it's going to backfire on women, but it's going to take a long time.
Well, let's look what females did. They decided they're going to take control, and then they decided to use the legal system against men. How psychotic is that? Could you imagine if men did that? Whenever a woman
Mm.
screwed up, that he would call the police on her?
Exactly, and the Bible says not to use the courts of the world anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Don't
it's
use
in
the
the
word
Bible. You're not allowed to take another Christian to the worldly courts because they're going to be unjust and give the wrong decisions. So
and don't press false witness.
yeah, another thing, Ten Commandments, exactly. So you see, women are just breaking all these laws, and I know men have done terrible things too, but just at the moment we're talking about laws. So yeah, it's just screwed up how things have got.
Men might have done a lot of bad, abusive things, but we never changed the legal system to benefit only us.
That's true. And even in the days when men were in control, hardly any men divorced. The divorce rate was less than 1%. Well, if you can call it divorce, but marriages did last, and men didn't keep their wives from seeing their children, didn't take their wives' money, didn't put their wives in jail for stupid reasons. So yeah,
Exactly.
things have got way worse now.
Exactly. But men were also held accountable for her deeds, so therefore he had the right to correct and punish her because he's paying for her deeds.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. He'd have to go to jail himself, so he couldn't put the wife in jail because he'd have to do the time. So yeah, it
Exactly.
just couldn't have happened. Yeah,
So that gave him fucking authority, just like when your child screws up, that you have the right to abuse. You have a right to spank and educate your child. It's the same thing that goes for women. I mean, at least in the 1950s, we were honest enough to say that women were children. We even took that away. We've gotten men today to completely bow down to only work at 70% of their capacity. We got men to completely step out of colleges today. We got men completely self-sacrificing and stepping out and letting women have a shot, and all they're doing is self-destructing. It's completely insane. Women do not belong in power. They do not know how to wield it. And it reminds me of the Lord of the Rings when Frodo hands the Elf Queen the ring, and he's like, "Well, you take the ring because you can hold on to it. You're ancient. You have these powers. You should be able to control it." And as soon as she gets the ring, she becomes a complete psycho. And she says,
ah, yes,
and then she backs off from the ring and says, "You offer me this power?" And he's like, "Yeah, you're the elf bitch. If anybody can control it, you can." And she failed to control it, and she takes a step back and she looks at Frodo like, "Now I understand why you bear the ring." And I was thinking, that's the perfect fucking example of feminism, man.
mm, it's perfect. It's beyond perfect. Yeah, It is. I mean, it does say in the Bible that women shouldn't be in control of men. Women shouldn't be teaching men. Like,
Yeah.
it sounds so sexist today, but like it was there for a reason. And look at today's society where women are in control. I mean, Hillary Clinton's probably going to be the next president of America. So,
But
women are in control.
what is wrong with sexism? I
Well, I don't
understand.
think there's anything wrong with it myself, but I'm just, how it sounds is so different. It's just people will just not understand.
But I don't care what people want to understand. I'm not here to serve the public opinion. I'm here to serve the legal side. I'm here to serve humanity. No, I'm not going to go out there and pussy pander and try to get females' sympathy by acting very sad and making up lies and false allegations that cannot be backed up. Point being simply is that men need to start standing up for themselves and putting an end to the female insanity. We are stronger, we are more in power, and if we were completely honest with ourselves, we could clearly say that since the 1970s, we put females up on pedestals. And because they're standing up on pedestals, the 1980s woman, the 1990s woman has no idea that we put them up on pedestals in the 70s, and they believe that they are truly equal to men. This is like standing up on a pedestal to be eye to eye with somebody and say, look, I'm eye to eye with you now. Now you have to respect me. And I'm like, fuck respecting you. I'll just kick the pedestal off from underneath you.
Yeah, that's the correct attitude because yeah, young women today they not think they're equal to men. They think they're better than men. They think they're more spiritual, more holy, more strong, more capable. So it's not that we're equal now. Women just think they're above men. So yeah, it's
There is not a female on this planet today that has more emotion than a man does. Not one
no,
female. No way. The things that a man goes through just from childhood to teenage lifetime is more experience in that little 17 years of his life than a female will ever have in her entire life. Let alone being betrayed, used, taking his money, losing his kids. I mean, could you imagine any woman losing her kids? Seriously?
no, not today.
No, exactly. But they don't mind doing it to men.
That's right. They think they've got the right to because they think they're above men. They think they're more holy, they're better parents, better everything. But
But that's
almost all
because
of them need child support. They need money from the man because they can't hold down a job or can't earn enough to live.
while they're on a pedestal,
Exactly. So it's a false pedestal, isn't it? Like,
it
I
is a
mean,
false
if women
pedestal.
were equal, then there shouldn't be any need for child support, should there? Because the mother should be out there working, earning the money herself.
But when I tell men that they are responsible for what they've done, they are responsible. Kick the fucking pedestal out from underneath her. Put her in her place. Show her, educate her that you are the man, that you are the boss around the house, and no means no. Don't pussy
That's
pander.
right.
Don't give in to her. Don't give in to her insanity. If she wants to throw a hissy fit, put her outside the door. Very simple. Dominate, keep the situation in control. This is why they got rid of men in the first place, because the government understood if they want to create a world of narcissists, the first thing they're going to have to do is get rid of structure. They're going to have to get rid of discipline. They're going to have to get rid of the education guy. And that happens to all fall onto the father. This is why fathers are being removed from the household. Mothers are not being removed. The father is the disciplinarian, the educator, and the one that makes sure that things get done. So therefore, the father is the biggest threat. And at the same time, if you remove a child from a father's life, you crush the father. Therefore, the father does not want to fight, does not want to put up and grab up his guns and fight. He wants to just crawl into a hole and forget that he's even alive. He lost his kids. So it's a double attack. First, we're putting women up on pedestals and saying women are in control. And at the same time, we are beating down men and making men believe that they are not in control. It's a two-way destruction street.
Yeah, it totally is. And these ideas aren't new, as you were talking about earlier. They've all been practiced before. Like there are like Roman slave manuals, and the slave manual says to put the woman in control of a man,
Amen
like
to that. Yep, I totally
make the
agree.
woman like the bosses, and then the men have no will to band together and to overthrow the master. So it's all gone out for all throughout history. And all these wars that men have fought. I mean, these letters of, like, all the European royal families are all related. Even the last Tsar of Russia, he was so close to the King of England at the time, people couldn't tell them apart. And they all just used to have wars just to kill off the young men so that there'd not be revolutions. It's all been letters to each other saying our slaves are getting uppity, we need another war to put them in their place. So it's all done to control the man.
When you have a government today that is using the United Nations as a fucking military source, and they want to
Yeah.
destroy a country, they want to destabilize a country, first what you do is you attack the men. You attack the family to stop the breeding. Therefore, if there's no breeding coming in, there's no children being born. Therefore, you could already dominate. Then you knock out the men to make sure that they don't stand up and rise up. Then all you're left with is the females. Then you control the females, and boom, you control the entire nation. And that's exactly what they have done. And the females are responsible for that because they don't stand up and say, we need education, we need structure, we need discipline,
No.
because we are female. We are out of control wild animals. We need to be dominated. We need to be controlled. And secretly, every fucking female loves to be dominated. Every female. If you're in bed with a woman and you say to her, do you like this? Do you like this? Do you like this? It gets on her nerves. But if you grabbed her, tied her arms behind her back, and fucked the shit out of her, she would be screaming in ecstasy. They like to be dominated, even though they act like they don't like to be dominated. And you see it all the time in schools as well. And as also a lot of girls today with their grandparents. They don't respect their parents, but they sure as shit respect their grandparents because their grandparents were not raised in the era of feminism. If a little girl gets out of hand, the grandfather has no problem with slapping her and educating her. And females need more education than men do. Even the Bible clearly states that a woman needs to be redeemed while a man only needs to be forgiven. In other words, if a man asks for God to be forgiven, forgiven. But if a female came up to God and said, God, forgive me, God's like, what have you done to serve Adam? Your job was to serve Adam. Every man is Adam. Let's just say every man is Adam. I don't want to give them all specific names. We got 6 billion people on the planet today. Every man is Adam. Eve's job is to serve Adam. If you do not serve Adam, then you are a failure as a female. And it's time that these females should be held accountable for being failures. Not only are they failures, but they're also betraying their own nation. Any woman that has an abortion today is actually killing off a future soldier, a future doctor, a future lawyer. Therefore, they are betraying their own nation. And they need to stop and think about what they're doing.
That's correct. And the way for a woman to love God is to love her husband. And if she doesn't love her husband, like if she kicks him out of the house, denies him from seeing his children, takes 80% of his money, takes him to worldly courts, all against the Bible, then obviously God is not going to have blessings in her life. The children's lives are going to get more and more screwed up because there's no blessings. And when she dies, I mean, I don't think there's much hope. I mean, it's going to be a very, very terrible time when she's facing God and God's got this big long list of things she's done to her man. I mean, that's not going to be pretty for her, the afterlife.
Folks, understand what the Bible says. Man answers to God, woman answers to man. If woman fails to answer to man, then God will answer her. And he will make sure that she is punished for the abuse she gave to Adam. Woman's only job in this world is to support and educate and help populate, help the family grow stronger, and submit to her husband and submit to his rule on everything. What is the point of getting married and being in a relationship if you are not relating to the other half of the relationship? Why even have a relationship for? A relationship is a clear bond and understanding that two souls unite to become one. Do not even step into a relationship if you are not willing to participate as a person inside the relationship. And as I've always said, when there is a relationship, there are three parties. There is the man, the female, and the relationship itself. And if the woman does not take part in keeping her side of the relationship alive, it will die. no matter how great her pussy is, no matter how perfect her tits are, no matter how great of a fucking ass she has, if she is not willing to keep her side of the relationship afloat, it will sink. You cannot save something when that person is drilling holes in it to make it sink. Or as the
That's
Bible,
true.
or as the Bible says, a strong woman builds up her house, but a foolish woman tears it down with her own hands.
And it's not up to the man to save her anyway. I mean, men shouldn't be trying. They shouldn't be spending years trying to help the woman, trying to save the relationship. I mean, if a woman is so hopeless that she's going to do that, I think the man should leave the relationship as soon as possible and not spend any time trying to save it because it can't be saved anyway. And she's just waiting for the day where she wants to leave, like the day where he's brought a new house, where he's done something that she wants, and then she'll leave anyway. So he should leave first.
If you stay with a woman like that longer than a day, then you're insane because it's a double edged sword. Not only are you supporting her, but you are becoming addicted to her every single day. You are paying money for her company. She is a prostitute. That is not love, that is not caring, that is not respect, and that is not support. A good woman will every single day praise her husband. A good woman will know when to keep her mouth shut. She will not try to provoke him to rage. No woman that loves a man would ever provoke him to rage. She would not try to divorce him. She would not try to take the kids away. She would not demand alimony and child support. She would be very grateful to have what she has, and she would make sure never, ever, ever to get divorced. She would make sure her man is sexually fulfilled every single day, has a meal to come home to every single day, raises the children properly, greets her husband when he comes into the door, and treats him as if he is a king. Now, I know society today is the furthest from this scenario, but this scenario is what the Bible calls the genuine deal, how it is supposed to be done. So, any female that is deflecting from this scenario is indeed a sinner. And as I've said before in previous videos, there are a lot of women in hell and very few of them in heaven.
Definitely, and it's the easiest time in history to have a good marriage now because women have got washing machines, got electricity, got every possible labor saving device. I mean, I live on my own, and it takes me less than an hour a day to do all my own cooking, all my own dishes. Every bit of housework is done very quickly. So it's really the easiest it's ever been. And on top of that, women have got like childcare, they've got daycare, they can get servants. So really, the fact that they can't even do it when it's the easiest it's ever been, it just shows you that marriage is a waste of time.
I don't say marriage is a waste of time. I say females are a waste of time. I would never declare something that God gave us as a waste of time. And folks need to start fucking realizing that marriage was around way before government, okay? Marriage is an institution given to you by God. It is not an institution given to you by government. And government needs to keep their filthy, dirty fingers out of it because they are the ones that are destroying it. But people also calling men abusive and oppressors is also not helping. Marriage should be an institution between two people and nobody else. Very simple. You keep every other aspect out of it. You don't talk to
That's
your
true.
friends about your you don't talk to your friends about your husband. You don't talk about your situation with your husband to anybody else but your husband. And maybe your local priest if the situation is so out of control that you need a third party. But you don't go to your girlfriends, you don't go to magazines, you don't go to television seeking advice.
Yeah, that's true. I meant that marrying a woman who's not going to support you is a waste of time. I didn't mean that marriage is a waste of time. But in the very, very early part of the Bible, there was no marriage. Like Adam and Eve weren't married. And my research, the Catholic Church was the ones who invented formal marriage. Before then, you could have multiple wives and stuff. So yeah, marriage has been around for many hundreds of years, but originally it
I
wasn't.
kind of disagree on that. That Adam and Eve were not married because Adam had Lilith. Lilith ran away because she did not want to lay underneath him; that she wanted to be on top. Then God created Adam. I'm sorry, created Eve directly from Adam. That's the union right there. There's the marriage right there. The fact that she was
Okay, but it
created
wasn't
from
an
him.
official. It wasn't like an official marriage of one man and one woman because the
Actually
early
was.
biblical men had many wives.
but it was an official marriage because she was created from him. Without him, she would never even been born. There would be no women today without Adam. Man came first, then came woman. So they
Okay,
were
yeah,
already.
I definitely I agree with that. But like Adam's children, they never had like marriage ceremonies where they had to be faithful to one woman.
No, that's true. But at that time, it was also different. The world needed to
Yeah,
procreate very fast. So therefore,
yeah.
there was no union. The unions came from the ancient Jews. That's where the union of marriage came from the Jewish community. But that's what I'm also saying, that marriage is a Judaic Christian heritage. It is not a worldly heritage. It is definitely not a governmental heritage. It is a religious aspect. This is why I do not understand why, if the homosexuals hate God so much, why they want to get married. Why can they not get a fucking different contract that gives them the same benefits, but not under the eyes of God? Why do they have to have a marriage under the eyes of God in a church by a Christian minister? Why can't they just have another their own ceremony with their own kind of contract, like a homosexual agreement or something like that? Why is it marriage they want to go after?
Yeah, yeah, I don't know the answer. I mean, there's probably many reasons, but yeah, I mean, I definitely think that if churches don't allow homosexuality, they shouldn't be married in those churches anyway.
Well, I don't agree on homosexuality whatsoever. It's an abomination to our Lord, therefore it is an abomination to me. But the point simply being is that they don't like God, and therefore they take part in homosexuality, but they want to get married underneath the eyes of our Lord, in the church by a Christian minister. Why can they not just go to their local city halls and get married there by a government agent? Why do they have to take part in the whole religious aspect?
Yeah, I see your point. Well, I don't know why. Like, there's probably many reasons. Who knows?
There's
But
only
yeah,
one.
churches should be like not have to do gay marriages if they don't want to.
Oh, but right now, that's exactly what's going on in America right now. Christian ministers are being forced to take part in gay wedding celebrations, and if they fail, they get lawsuits, and if they also fail, they get their tax exempt status cut off. So they really have no choice. They sold out to
Yeah,
government, and now they're paying for it.
I know the Catholic Church and the Mormon Church would never do that, so I don't know how they can force them to have marriages there. But who knows?
Watch the last video of Theodore Shubat, where he's talking about gay marriage right now in America, where a couple has to pay $165,000 to a lesbian butch bitch because they refused to marry her. There's a Christian minister who was married to his wife, and the two lesbians came up and said they wanted to get married. The Christian pastor said, no, it's not going to happen. So she sued the minister for $165,000, claiming emotional distress. That she had a
Okay.
low self-esteem issues from it, that she was having PTSD from it, that she couldn't sleep properly, that she was having a lot of guilt issues from it, and therefore she declared that she deserved $165,000.
Yeah, well, I mean, everything is so messed up these days that we can't be surprised. But yeah, it's totally wrong to do that. But the pastor should have no money. Everything he has should belong to the church. So there's probably no way they could pay it. So,
I don't,
but
I
yeah,
don't,
it's very, very messed up.
I don't like this. I don't like people saying that the world is completely messed up. I say the world could be fixed in 5 seconds.
Yeah, what could be, but it hasn't been. I mean, we've let it get this far and haven't fixed it. So who knows how far it'll get.
Well, society could not get any worse. The whole world today is Sodom. They're all sodomites, every one of them. The only thing that can get worse is the planet can get set on fire, ozone layer can be depleted, the world gets hotter. Things can happen badly to the earth, but as far as society, we are definitely the lowest of all parasitic creatures. We could not
Yeah,
get any worse.
as I said to you last time, God would have to apologize to Sodom and Gomorrah because he's not doing anything now. So I think now it's probably worse than back then because now everything, people just don't even know it's wrong. So I think back then they had prophets who were trying to preach to them that it was wrong, and now you can't even see people doing that.
But that doesn't deserve an apology to Sodom and Gomorrah, because God clearly states that he's going to fade away from the earth. For at the end time, he's going to disappear. He's going to leave mankind to their own issues. As a matter of fact, he says he's going to retract the Holy Spirit, that it's not going to be available anymore to everybody that wants to have it. There's going to come a time where God cuts everything off, and those that have it, and those that don't. And I think that
That's
we've reached that climax now because we are seeing God punishing people on earth right now. I mean, we might say, where is God today? But I see him everywhere. I seen him during the Nepal earthquake with the 7.9. I see him today in the Joel Osteen ministries when I see 100,000 people going to his mega church. I see God all over the place. I see God when it rains. I see God when it's sunny. I see what he's up to. So I do not say that God is not here. I'm just saying that God is no longer participating in mankind's struggle, and that it will take a lot for Jesus to come back and for the Lord to finally say, okay, I care about humanity again. And it's actually going to take the Egyptians crying out for a savior for God to pay attention to humanity again. But it is humanity's own fault because, I mean, humanity wants to believe in the great delusion. And if you wonder what the great delusion is, it is evolution. And since people want to believe in evolution, they are acting accordingly. Your mindset determines on how your behavior is going to be. If you believe that there is no God and there is no eternal wrath and suffering for your bad decisions, then your mindset is going to be one of dominates and the strongest will survive. God is just basically bailed out right now and said, you're all on your own, take care of your own. But he's still around. He's just doing other things.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. And people already have the Holy Spirit. There are elect people here who are going to survive and live all through this and live through the 1,000-year reign. So it's not a total dead loss, but it just seems like a very hard thing to try and, I don't know, to try and make better, I'll put it that way.
Well, we know that when Jerusalem was created, that was biblical prophecy fulfilled when Israel was created as a state. And then Jesus Christ goes off and follows and says that generation shall not perish before he returns. We do not know how long Jesus Christ considers to be one generation. It could be just like when Moses was walking through the desert. Remember how all the Hebrews had to die off first before they reached the promised land?
Right.
And that's why it took 40 years of walking through the desert until all the old people died off. Well, we don't know how long this generation is going to be, but what we do know is that Israel was established in 1947, I believe, or 46. So we could tell from there that even if we counted up 100 years, let's say that was to be 1946, and that is going to be that generation, and they live to be 100 years, we're looking at 2046 at the very max. And it is currently 2015. So we are looking at another, 21 years, 30 years roughly at the very max before that generation is over. Well, when we are seeing today that gay marriage is, sometimes if I want to know when Jesus is going to return, I don't look at Jesus's prophecy. I do something pretty evil. I look to see what the devil is doing. And I look to see how active the devil is. And I go and see what the devil is up to and how big his moves are. Because sometimes the devil will make increments. Like when feminism came in, it started out with equal rights, and now it's about full domination. It's always been about full domination, but he's always used generation after generation after generation to indoctrinate people. But when you see the devil making a giant move, such as allowing gay marriage through the entire United States, even though 14 states are against it, then you can clearly see that the devil is scared.
Yes.
And when he is scared, you know that God is up to something because he is not scared for no reason. So what we are witnessing today, July 4th, which was Independence Day, is that the devil is very active. Combine that with the blood moons, combine that with the generation thing, that generation shall not perish. Combine that with ISIS, and then combine it with the Illuminati in the West. Like I wrote yesterday in the video, I mean, there's never been a time in history before that all countries in the world are suffering the same amount. But if you go to Europe, America, Middle East, wherever you go right now, it's all the same level of suffering. It's like the entire world is just drowning right now. And there's not a single country out there that's drowning less than the other. They're all drowning at the same rate. They're all drowning by different things, but they're all drowning at the same rate. And I find that to be very biblical. It's by itself. The fact that the West right now, that America is collapsing while the East is rebuilding Babylon, you can clearly see that all over the world situations are taking place right now. And that has never happened in all of history. That everywhere in the world is the same kind of level of suffering. And that is also, again, prophetic and something that nobody looks at. Combine that with the animals dying right now and the weather changing, and that's another good point I want to bring up. Folks like to believe today in global warming, and they believe that if they reduce their carbon footprint, that therefore the world will be saved. Folks, listen to me clearly. This is not global warming. This is the birthing pains of Jesus' return. He prophesied that when he returned, that animals would start drowning and dying in the ocean, that millions of animals would start washing up on the coast, that birds would fall out of the sky, that comets would happen, that earthquakes would happen, that famines would happen, that droughts would happen. All of this before he returns. And that is what we are seeing today. But your governments have labeled it global warming. And I'm using air quotes. It's not global warming, it is birthing pains. Know your Bible to see reality.
Yes, that's true. Global warming just doesn't exist.
Nope.
They've gone through the records and they've found that the temperatures, we had like a mini ice age in the Middle Ages, so it was really cold then. So they've gone back and they've found there's lots of carbon in the air at many times all throughout history. So the carbon actually promotes plants to grow because they use it and turn it into oxygen. So yeah, it is just a big lie, just so that they can tax people in the rich countries and give the money to people in the poor countries, because they can't have a one world government. If there's lots of independent rich countries who don't need it, they have to bring everybody to the same kind of level, and then people will agree to a one world government. And that's why they're flooding in European countries with immigrants, because these immigrants are going to vote for the one world government, whereas Europeans aren't going to places like China and Syria and Middle Eastern countries because they just don't need diversity there. It's not the way to break those countries. So yeah, it's amazing how they're slowly getting us to that point of a one world government.
The exact same world government that Daniel spoke of.
Yes, yes. The last government was clay and iron, and Daniel said it's a very, very strong government. It's going to be a very controlling government of the people. So it's very interesting, that Daniel's vision.
Well, Nebuchadnezzar's vision.
Yes,
Daniel's
in the book of Daniel, I mean in the book of Daniel. Like, I'm just speaking to you off the top of my head. I'm not getting everything exactly right.
Yeah, I know. Sorry about that.
No, that's cool. Anyway, I'm going to have to go soon because it's already past 10 o'clock here, so I'm late for church. So
you gotta go to
it's
church.
Sunday morning here, so I've got to get going. And if we talk too long, people won't listen anyway. So anyway, Universal Studios 13 just put out another video today. It's going to upset you if you listen to it, so maybe, yeah, listen to it later, maybe, I don't know.
I haven't even, there's been this thing called subscriber gate on YouTube, and lately I'm losing subscribers, and they're dropping my views, and I don't see new people posting videos. I did not have any clue that Universal Studios posted a new video today, so I'll go have a look in a minute.
Exactly, YouTube's manipulating things, and they've cut my channel. I've got no privileges now. That's why I had to send you the invite for my second channel. So YouTube is really starting to really control me. Yeah,
yep,
yeah.
I agree. They're really cracking down a lot. No, I totally agree on that. I've had many bans on this channel too, and many strikes, and I know the whole game that they play as well. And you can't make any live streams if you have any strikes on your account. Blah blah blah. Total control. But that's why we got Facebook nowadays and stuff like that too, to talk to other people. So
yeah, and I like him.com. He's creating a whole new internet which can't be controlled. So you know, we're going to get around these things slowly, but just for now we've got to live with them.
Well, I actually still have a feeling that the globalists could fail. I think there are enough people waking up nowadays to put a stop to it, but we will see. Time will tell. You have a great day, buddy, and I hope you have a good time at church, and I hope you learn something cool. And but I think you'd probably be a better minister than your own minister.
Yeah, I know, but you can't tell people that. But I just slowly have conversations with people and try and wake people up, but it's very hard. It's a slow process.
Yeah, you got to test the waters and see who's willing to swim. Okay,
Exactly, exactly. So I'll see you later. Bye.
you have a great day, buddy. Take care. This is Ward on Fire. Everybody signing off. Have a great day yourselves. Take care and avoid the heat wave. See you all later. Bye bye.